Mr. Chairman, Mr. Commissioner, colleagues, I am very pleased to present to you the report on corruption and human rights in third countries. Let me start by thanking all my colleagues from DROA, DEVE and INTA for their input and great cooperation in preparing this report, as well as in particular Ana Gomes, who was a rapporteur in 2013. The aim of this endeavour was to highlight the link between corruption and human rights and to cover a wide scope of the human rights violations and provide recommendations to the EU policies. Corruption is regarded as a complex phenomenon of abuse of entrusted power for personal gain, which poses serious obstacles for the realisation of all human rights, as well as distortion to democracy and political processes. Therefore, in this report we see an intrinsic need to employ a human rights-based approach to the EU anti-corruption policy. As well, among other topics, the report highlights business responsibility, investment flows, relation to corruption, corruption influence on elections, tax havens, large sporting events and freedom of the media. We continue insisting on the Commission and External Service to use all our diplomatic tools so the European Union takes the lead in the fight against corruption by supporting anti-corruption institutions in third countries, encouraging the sharing of best practices and negotiating enforceable anti-corruption and anti-money laundering provisions in all of the future trade agreements we will make. We believe that the European Union can become a credible actor only if we address corruption within our own borders. Thus, this report calls on the effective anti-corruption strategy at the Member States level too. As far as aid and financing instruments are concerned, we insist that the EU-funded projects would be permanently monitored and that any budget support would be linked with concrete reforms towards transparency and other anti-corruption measures. Having said this, we must admit that the gap between the policy and implementation still exists, and there is a lack of political will to bridge it, as we have very well learned from recent examples. The future of Guatemalan International Commission against Impunity, which is crucial in its fight against corruption in the country and was as well mentioned in my report as a successful example of the EU-funded project, is now unfortunately threatened. In addition, we hear of LuxLeaks, Panama Leaks, Russia and Azerbaijan laundromats, other cases where we realise that corruption stretches far over the state borders and it is in fact having dramatic repercussions on very serious international policy decisions. We therefore call on to uphold the highest possible ethical and transparency standards in international institutions and national bodies to encourage the European Union to have a legal framework in place to deter any type of corruption and fraud. Thus, in this report, we reiterate our demand to bring the Magnitsky sanctions list against 32 Russian state officials to the Council for its immediate adoption. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let me finish by quoting John Steinbeck, a Nobel Prize winner from 1962, who said, I quote, "Power does not corrupt, fear corrupts, perhaps the fear of the loss of power." End of quote. Indeed, I feel like most of my report was exactly about the fear of the loss of power. Ladies and gentlemen, I am looking forward for the debate at this plenary and the smooth adoption of this very needed report. Thank you.